Truly do want to see people succeed in this program, and it doesn't have to be a student that dropped out when they were 16 and now maybe they're 18 or 19. I mean, I was 50 years old when I decided to come back, and it was probably one of the best, I know it was one of the best decisions I ever made. You can come to this program and be a part of it, and they just lead you right by the hand and took me through my credits, and it was an incredible journey for me, and I'm so glad I did. And the teachers here were absolutely amazing. You worked at your own pace. They liked you to kind of pick up a pace and get your credits done, but it was all done on your time, at your pace, with absolutely no pushing, shoving you along by any of the teachers. It was just a wonderful experience and opportunity for me, and I would suggest that anybody even thinking about it, you should look into it. If it's a fear factor or an embarrassment factor because of whatever reason, you shouldn't let that bother you one bit, because once you get here the very first day, you'll find out that everybody here is on the same page and just wants to see every student here succeed and get their diploma. Just, you know, it got to the point in school where the classwork wasn't important to me and grades weren't important to me. It was more about the athletic part and just screwing around and being the class clown and getting the laughs. And that's something that, you know, when you're kind of in and out of different friendships with different people, you kind of latch on to whatever makes you feel good. And for me, when people would laugh and I would just clown around and make foolish mistakes and do stupid things, that was my drug. I liked that, and that enabled me to finish my school but not really get the grades that I needed to have. So I decided that I would join the service and join the military. Went into the Marines in June of my senior year, so it was like less than 2 weeks after graduation. Got a GED just so I could enlist. Was on my way out, took off, did 4 years in the service, came back and contemplated a lot of things, and was very embarrassed that I never really fully took advantage of my education and got my diploma. And what made things even worse for me was I was hired by the school, so here I am telling kids how important grades are and how much you have to stay up on your studies and just work hard, and being a huge hypocrite, not having a Oregon high school diploma or any diploma myself other than GED. That really started to eat at me for quite some time. So I didn't decide to go back until I was approached by an administrator, and it was 30 years after my original graduation date. And so I was embarrassed by that. I never told my family. My wife didn't know about it. My daughter never knew about it. My mom didn't know that I did not have a signed diploma. I just never showed anybody the diploma, and I just played along that, yep, I was part of the class, had a signed diploma, and went about my merry way. And up until that administrator, they obviously found out that I hadn't really graduated and wanted to know if I'd be interested and thought I'd be a good candidate for that. But it was a very embarrassing thing for me when I realized that I'm telling kids how important education is, and I didn't have a diploma myself.
But kids were pretty cruel to me, and I was like labeled a slut or whatever before I'd even kissed a boy. So and they were really, that was like the catalyst of why I dropped out, because they were so mean. It started in middle school, and then it just kept going, and one day I'd had enough. I kind of liked school if it was interesting to me. Like history, I loved history, and then I'd get good grades with that. And then with other subjects, if I just wasn't interested, I just didn't take it. See, that's the thing, I don't even know what I want to do. I always wanted to be a veterinarian. When I was little, I couldn't say it, so I'd say peterinarian. But then I realized I couldn't do it because animals in pain, and it would just be too heartbreaking for me. But I really haven't thought of what exactly I want to do in the future as a career. I just want the ability to go to school and get on that road. A teacher actually said that I'd be a good accountant, which is crazy because my whole life in school I hated math, absolutely hated it. And then I started coming here, and not only did it make sense to me when it never did before, I actually enjoyed it. So I don't know what kind of magic they got going on here, but yeah. I'd always beat myself up about dropping out and then not do anything about it. And it was just like this cycle, like, oh, I've spent so much time doing nothing after doing this, and after dropping out, doing nothing. It was just like, I would just beat myself up in a circle, and then I finally did something about it. And I actually came here, and it was the best choice I ever made. I loved all the teachers, and it gave me, it just gave me confidence that I didn't have at all, and it made me feel good about myself, and I hadn't for a very long time. Nothing like that. If it was like that, I wouldn't be here. Not saying that teachers at the high school don't care, but the teachers that are here want to be here. Like Miss Ott, she's the best teacher I've ever had, and I consider her a friend, and that I could talk to her about anything. Up until the time I got pregnant, I didn't miss a single day. Even Miss Ott gave me a perfect attendance award, which is crazy because I used to skip school all the time. I look forward to it so much. But then circumstances made it so it was too hard for me to concentrate because I had a baby to think about. And I love how it's individualized for you and what you need to do to get your diploma, and it works with your strengths and your weaknesses. And if something's not working for you, you can be like, hey, can we try something else? And they can figure something out for you. Stuck in the same place I was before, just beating myself up about not doing anything about it. Yeah, I just think this program's amazing, and I think that anyone that needs to get a diploma needs to take full advantage of this because it's free, and just it makes you feel so good about yourself, and you can undo the wrong you did to yourself by leaving school. Or at least that's what it has for me. It's like I'm making amends with myself.
After about 3/4 of the way through my freshman year, something changed. I don't know if it was the environment, teachers, or if it was just me, but something changed, and it just didn't click and didn't feel right to go to school, so I just stopped going, and didn't go over too well between the school and my parents, but there wasn't a whole lot that could be forced. I took a few tickets for truancy, got picked up by the cops a few times, but nothing really worked. One of my biggest fears was it stemmed from the high school too, where I always fear being judged and being looked down upon, which is a very common problem in high school. And coming here, I realized that we're all in the same boat here. We're all here because we want to finish our schooling, and we're all majority of the people here are older, a little wiser, and I mean we've all matured a bit, so it doesn't feel the tension that you feel in the high school. I was never popular in terms of what the school says is popular. So I mean, I always get picked on, comments thrown my way that didn't necessarily feel the greatest, and you can only take so much before something breaks or you just snap and you don't want to go, and that's what happened to me. Well, it's normal that kids pick on each other, whether they're different or their families have less money, less things, bigger house, whatever it is. And it's well, it's not right. It is a normal thing. I mean, we have all these anti-bullying campaigns, but I mean, it's a normal thing. That's why we're having to have these campaigns going on, because it is a problem. It is a thing that is out there that we try to change, but people are going to be people, and there are always going to be some people that think they're better than other people. So I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do, but I mean, it's I guess moving a step forward at this point. Advice I'd say would be to try to grind through, and if it becomes a point, if there is a point where it becomes that breaking point, where it becomes over the line, I mean, it's easy to say, just tell somebody, just speak up, ask around, say something rather than nothing like I did. And like I did, I said nothing. It's easier to say nothing because we like to keep things inside for majority of people. I like to think that I've gotten over it, but I mean, still to this day, there's still things people say that bug me, or I think back and remember some of the things that people did to me, and I mean, it's still a pain, but I mean, it doesn't hurt me the same as it did back then. And I don't know if it's just because I grew up, I got more mature, or just because I've kind of grown used to it, that I can't change the past, so what's done is done. Just move on, continue your life. My parents weren't really supportive of me when I decided to stop going to the high school, as most parents would be. But I mean, they understood. High school is not for everybody these days. I mean, we've changed. The schools have changed. Things are different, but it's not for everybody. And then when Oasis and the night school came along, they were very supportive because they realized it's a great opportunity, and I can accomplish just the same as I would if I would have finished high school, and that it would be because I wanted to, not because the school or the law is forcing me to go. It's because I want to go and I want to do this, and no one is forcing me to do this. Gave my mom a call one day saying that they're trying to put together a program to help people that didn't have the drive to finish their high school diploma. So I figured it's worth a shot. So I went, and it actually was surprisingly laid back and calm compared to what I remember schooling used to be. And it was a real nice change of pace. It was more to my style, not a lot of people, a lot of interaction with the teachers, and it was just a lot more relaxing. I mean, when I came here, it wasn't just my friends, it was my family that, whether they like to admit it or not, there were always jokes and cracks that I didn't complete high school, that I'm kind of the screw up, so to speak. But when I came, I was like, hopefully I'll finish, I'll get my diploma, that'll change, and I'll feel better about myself knowing that even though it took me longer than most people, I saw it through, I finished, and I accomplished what I hoped to when I started out. If someone went through what I went through, it was not fun at all. It definitely changed my experience and who I am. I'd like to think it made me a better person, yeah. That I'm more compassionate or more understanding to other people who are in a similar position.
Going into sophomore year, things started getting out of hand in my life. My sister had run away. That was affecting me internally because we're twins, so I feel whatever she feels, and it's something that twins only understand. So then I got a lot of tickets and disorderly conduct punishments at school, and led me to go to a child and adolescent mental facility at Merida in Verona, and I went first semester of my sophomore year, and then I spent my 17th birthday in a facility, and it was awful. Then going into 2010, my parents decided to have me ship out to Florida that summer of 2010, and then that's where I reconstructed myself. More unfortunate events took place, but in that fall, going into 2012, 2013, I decided to go to school to half days, and then after it, I would do night school. So night school was pretty much the key factor of how I got my diploma. If it wasn't for any other staff pushing me and helping me out, I wouldn't be probably the person that I am today. They pushed me with all the tools and gave me all the foundations for me to have a diploma that says my name so I can be in college. So high school was pretty awesome for me, my super senior year per se, how everybody jokes around here. And I don't mind what people say because I stay true to myself, and it's really hard for people to understand, wow, how could he just take all that and not care? Because I was fighting for myself. It's survival of the fittest. High school is what it was. If you're honestly thinking of just leaving everything behind, dropping out, not caring about anything, that's probably the first mistake you'll make, because I made that too, and I had to restart all over. I would wait as a student and stall all the events coming in your life and think for yourself. Start cutting off people from your life that are going to affect you negatively, and just worry about yourself until high school is over, and you'll have all the time in the world for everybody. If I wouldn't have gotten my diploma, I would have gotten the second option, a GED. That looks bad in resume, so I was like, I have to take this one or else it's not gonna happen. So when I was doing night school, I was also doing a summer job that was counting as hours towards credits. So I was working at College Works Painting for Madison, and we were assigned the Oregon area. So in the mornings I would work, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays I would come to night school. And that helped me out. So by September 20th, I got my high school diploma.